children, come. You've arrived at...
Oh, what is it, Granny?
Oh, no. You've done so much. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting our heads to...
A gift? For Paimon?
Oh, child, you are so very modest. When you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you... That simply won't do. Especially... Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace career... Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then...
Esto es para iniciar las misiones de la tetera.
Subspace creation is the ability to create. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket.
So, in the eyes of an adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just...
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. But that's enough nostalgia for now.
That's right! Finding stuff's what we're...
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need. What's more, I doubt that you would know how to Well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back in the day, it could only be found where you would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since even more difficult to find is smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. Or so it used to be. Ever since the Blackcliff Forge opened for business, in any case, smaragdus jadeite is an adepti treasure, and the adeptal power within is not some... Goodness knows if that child will succeed in finding...
Well, since you're an adeptus, Granny, the person...
Yes.
She counts? How come there are so many adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them...
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of...
I'm back, Granny.
Uy, ¿quién es?
Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Allow me to do the honors. This child here
Yanfei.
is Yanfei. Yanfei, I believe you already heard of the traveler and his...
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records. You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. Before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion. A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal
Hostia,
problem?
abogada.
You can come right to me.
Es una abogada.
Oh, yes. Here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details and office. If you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I offer a very...
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this. Ever the talkative one.
Joder, ya se ha notado, se ha notado.
Question. You seem really different from the ones we've met before.
An adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time. And then after that was all over, they had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny.
Well, that's a bit casual for an adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked. The chasm's been sealed off, and there's just no way in. Couldn't secure any documentation either. Looks like the Ministry of Civil Affairs...
Is that so? Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liyue great...
Vale.
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a Hold on.
Whoa, that's a really thick book.
commercial consultancy. Or Snezhna Krasl.
Un poco más se pone el libro a la cara.
A merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. If my memory serves, all of them had to do with rare. He mentioned that he was considering acquiring some smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal ramifications. So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his hand. Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch.
Wow. An adeptus imploring us to avoid best we be a little more careful than you.
Esto yo lo arreglo yo con edición. ¿Con quién? ¿Con quién? ¿Con quién? Con este, ¿no? Venga.
Hello, Mr. Krasl. How's business been?
Oh, good. Very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any further developments on this front?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, in the end, I did acquire a small piece of smaragdus jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hairpins. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize. I've already rented them out to a lady named Zhiqiao. If you'd like to inspect them, you may have to wait quite some time.
Wait, isn't smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being rented out?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss Zhiqiao before renting them to her.
Ya empezamos con los
The
contratos.
contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for its full original value. In return, I included a clause that guarantees the smaragdus jadeite is genuine.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false. Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Zhiqiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract. Here, I'll mark it on your map for you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Krasl. We'll be off now.
Ok. Pues entonces... Vale. ¿Dónde tengo que ir? Ah, con Chisao tengo que hablar ahora. Oye, ¿las cosas estas qué son? Vale, pues habrá que hablar con Chisao. A ver, Chisao, ¿dónde estás, compañero? Chisao. Where are you? Voy a por ti, Chisao. Es este.
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Miss Zhiqiao? We understand from Mr. Krasl that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
The hairpins. I
Oh,
can't
vaya.
lend them to you right now.
Vaya, habrá que recuperarlas.
I've lost them. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value... My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since the chasm was sealed off. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around, so we've been having to purchase some stock from other ore merchants to complete them. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to mingle and discuss prices. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. I can't have them looking down on me. But now that I've lost the hairpins, what will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of...
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Mr. Chow, would you let me have a look at the rental contract you signed?
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here. Here you are.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she
Abogada.
can help Jiqiao
Es
somehow.
abogada.
True. Though surely there must be a win-win solution.
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the original value of the hairpins as compensation for the loss. Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must take current market prices into account. And given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation may end up being significantly higher as a result.
Even higher. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Jiqiao looks like she's about to faint.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would we be able to find out if the jadeite is genuine or not? Whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding those hairpins.
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the jadeite is genuine, would there?
Seems right.
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over that. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't
Exacto, hay que
keep
respetar
Crossell
los
in the dark any
contratos
longer.
siempre.
I'll go and inform him of the issue and then negotiate the amount of compensation.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have some questions about the hairpins.
¿Cómo lo has perdido?
So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first touched the hairpins, what did you feel?
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstones set into the pins were perfectly smooth to the touch, like the finest quality jade. My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so I am quite certain of my judgment in this matter.
Smooth to the touch. Fine. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things. Let's head over to Mr. Cross.
Verá que el cross este le ha engañado, ya verás tú. Hablemos.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins? I trust you're quite satisfied with them?
About that.
Madre mía.
You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract. Every last mora.
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus Jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her estimate the amount that needs to be paid.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Ah, yes. And if I may just confirm again, it was in fact genuine Smaragdus Jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Of course. Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times the value.
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow in compensation. Please wait here, Mr. Crossell.
Verás tú que van a ser falsas
Thank
o
you
algo.
very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last mora that they're worth.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk in more detail.
A ver, ¿dónde tengo que ir ahora? Me teletransporto, paso de andar. Esto es lo bueno que tiene este juego, que te puede teletransportar en muchos sitios. Venga, sentémonos. Hablemos.
Miss Yunfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
Uy, es verdad que no he puesto el automático.
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the Orin laid on those hairpins may not be Smaragd.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, he would find some
Totalmente de
argument to
acuerdo, no
compel us
puedes
to
ir
leave.
a por él, tienes que traer
Then he'd
evidencias,
throw the Smaragdus jadeite into
pruebas.
the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this, perhaps you could help me, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to please
Y ya
sign this
empezamos con los
contract?
contratos. Otro contrato. Madre mía.
Does there have to be a contract for everything? It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
El
These
zombie,
are
a
my
ver.
formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yunfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page.
Madre mía.
Finally, if you could just use this ink pad
La
to make a
burocracia
headstone over
asquerosa,
here.
tío.
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve, once we've got some things squared away. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this should be quite the experience.
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask, why are you helping me?
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geo-energy around Mr. Crossel, so perhaps he has, in fact, secured some. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter, but either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus jadeite. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... Where can we find someone who processes ore? Ha! I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional when it comes to working with stone and ore. If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
A por él. A por él.
Try your luck betting on Jade?
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh, it's you, Miss Yanfei. Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and no one can ever win? Oh, I swear on all that is sacred.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnine merchant named Crossell enlisted your ore processing services recently by any chance?
A Snezhnine merchant named Crossell, you say? I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore, claiming that it was Smaragdus jadeite. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. But if a customer insists, far be it from me to contradict them. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore as per his request.
Do you have any leftover debris from your work on it?
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so I kept a few loose shavings to study myself later. They're right over there, in fact.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
A comprobar cosas. Vamos. Vale, esto... O sea, tengo que buscar esquirlas. ¿Por qué no compro suerte? Vendes algo de más gema en bruto. ¿Qué piensas sobre la parte de Red Lápiz? ¿Qué es esto? Lápiz en bruto. Adiós. No, creo que no lo estoy diciendo bien. A ver. Ah, vale, por aquí. Vale.
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross sections and yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used to make jewelry all the time.
Uy.
I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's ever proven it.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an entirely ordinary ore, containing no elemental energy whatsoever.
Is that so? Well, we might as well give elemental sight a shot.
Hostia, como hablo de la visión elemental.
So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao was able to tell what it was just by looking at the shards? That's pretty awesome.
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great... These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of the market price. And, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But, never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossell...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
Pero si lo tengo al lado, ¿por qué no lo llevan ya del tirón? Que no lo entiendo.
Miss Yanfei? Might I be so bold as to inquire,
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossell did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store was in fact Smaragdus jadeite, did he not?
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says quite clearly, 1 chunk Smaragdus jadeite, uncut.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and these stone shavings?
Of course. But might I ask why you need them?
Oh, I have my reasons. Ah, yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the, ore that Mr. Crossell brought to your store. Please read it carefully.
Yes, I see. Forgive me for asking again, Miss Yanfei, but might I know the nature of the incident on this occasion?
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue. Thank you, sir. I'll take these with me.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossell won't dare try to deny what he did.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find something a little more compelling. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Nope. Aha! Got it! Singxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because
¿Y
lots of
quién
people
carajo
come to
es
me
esa
for legal
persona? No,
advice
no
every
caigo ahora
day.
quién es.
As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very
No, está claro que
important to us.
Liyue es la
But the
pesadilla de los
amendments made by the
contratos.
Tianquan to our
Qué-
laws
qué-
are
qué cansancio, tío.
unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to finish?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
Qué loca, tío.
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know? Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Singxi.
Así, vayamos a ver a Singxi. Para acá, ¿no? Va, está cerquita.
Oh, Miss Yanfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time...
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossell asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Crossell? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yeah, he came to me with a chunk of something he called Smaragdus
Jadeita es
Jadeite. The
Smaragdus.
design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite
Puto nombre.
intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Singxi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossell commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day was called Smaragdus Jadeite?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Mr. Crossell wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Singxi. Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that there's been some more trouble?
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as I'm done with it. Thanks again.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body.
Claro, porque es médico, tío.
Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
Me estoy dando cuenta que llevo todo el directo sin hacer mucho. La verdad, nada más que estoy visitando toda la ciudad. Me cago en todo. Solo estoy visitando ciudad, la ciudad. Y la mayoría de las veces es en Liyue, tío. En Monster no he estado. O sea, he estado, pero no he estado tanto tiempo. Me lo paso más por aquí que en el otro sitio. Vamos a ver, caballero. Ilumíneme.
My. To what do I owe the
Vaya,
pleasure?
vaya.
Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains, and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality, and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yenfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document, won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus Jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable disappointment. I wonder, Miss Yenfei, if your pressing business might be related
Lo has
to the
clavado, compañero.
Snezhnayan merchant?
Lo has clavado.
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
You're too kind. Take care now.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that.
Vale, tenemos que ir a por
Well,
Cross.
we have the evidence we
Cross.
need. Let's go find
Crossla.
Mr. Crossel.
Crossla. Bueno. ¿No era por aquí? Vale, pero ¿dónde está el...? Habla con Cross. ¿No era aquí? Era este, ¿no? Habla con Cross. A ver, estoy aquí. ¿Por qué no me deja hablar? ¿Qué cojones, tío? ¿Qué pasa? Era abajo. No me jodas. Vale, vale. Pues te lo agradezco mucho, Maika, de verdad, ¿eh? Te lo agradezco un montonazo. Pero ¿qué personaje es el que no me deja continuar, tío? Es que de verdad, que odio, ¿eh?
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Vale, para que os quedéis claros, esto es continuación de una historia que ya empecé, ¿vale? En el anterior directo. Si termino esta historia, unificaré la del otro directo en un vídeo total y que sea esto, únicamente por, coño, para que haya correlación, ¿no? Pero es que me da rabia que tenga que hacerlo así. No puedo cancelar, no puedo cambiar personaje.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors?
Of course. According to this, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in...
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her?
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid with it. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine.
Toma!
Toma! For this sum,
Material evidence? What material evidence? What? I spent a huge sum to obtain that smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake?
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine.
Joya Mixi.
Traveler, please produce the evidence in question.
Creo recordar que era de joya de Mixi.
If we want to determine whether the ore is genuine, this is a processing record.
Vale, me he equivocado.
Along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between smaragdus jadeite and smaragdus. In any case, smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of smaragdus jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite. He returned the valuable jadeite core to...
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't...
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like he came prepared.
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the...
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's...
Madre mía.
You know,
¿Sabes que ya
could
tenía
be
razón?
right. Perhaps the hairpins...
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't... Traveler, would you do the honors?
Cha-chang.
What's
Cha-chang.
this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere sustained contact with smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties?
I...
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering... Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the... I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigation.
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew?
Lo sabía ahora, hijo puta.
But if you knew of Smaragdus jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand...
Huh? No,
aren't actually inlaid with genuine smaragd. You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Mr. Crossell. Your answer, please. Mike.
He's seriously intimidating right now.
I admit it. I confess. The ore But I'm a victim in all of this too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring... But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as jewelry. That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinguishable from I kept the real smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I daren't touch it again. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off,
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client. According to the contract, you must pay...
10 times.
10 veces, o sea, le va a arruinar, ¿sabe?
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go to me.
Es que claro, tú piensas que de un precio original pagar 10 veces Eso... O sea, es que tiene que ser la rehostia.
20%? That's as much as I...
There's no need. It's fine. Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them.
Ms.
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead?
What? But I... All right, then.
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you.
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may confirm this again, Mr. Chow.
Well
then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no further claims against...
Is that so?
actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk business first. I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business, and we have a fair stock. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice or...
Ojo, ojo, aquí sale una empresa, Aquí sale un business. Aquí sale una empresa,
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the place. Even though the solution didn't involve...
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins,
claro.
an Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case,
Abogada, no asesora legal, abogada.
Consultancy far more than it needs adeptal powers.
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reason.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's
Visitar a Madame Ping. A Madame Ping. Me acabo de dar cuenta que es como hacer un ping a una IP para ver si manda y recibe los paquetes, ¿no? Si haces un ping de eso, poner un ping de, que te digo yo, google.com, envías y recibes paquetes. Digital, ojo, estamos hablando de cosas de informáticos. Vale, a ver. Madame Ping, cuénteme.
Ah, you've returned. Good, good. Then we have...
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton...
Oh, you. All right, then. Go...
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the... I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law...
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have...
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
Es verdad, lo sacaban hoy. Es verdad. Hostia, pues luego cuando termine el directo lo canjeo.
Indeed, Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she... Liyue, all right then. Let us speak of this.
Oh, Paimon's so excited!
It is but a sing...
Madame Ping empieza a construir el regalo. ¡Oh! Una tetera.
There we go.
Él aquí.
Serenity
Esta relajatetera es toda tuya.
Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, oh goodness, who knows? Take these blueprints with you as...
Wait a minute, Granny! How exactly...
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged...
Ojo, ¿tengo un ayudante? ¿What? ¿Cómo? Vale, hemos terminado la misión de la... Bueno, espérate, creo que he terminado ya la misión, ¿no? ¿Es posible? Sí, hemos terminado por fin el tema de la tetera, ¿vale? Una cosa menos, por fin, menos mal, menos mal. Misiones. No, que esto continúa. No está bien, que está bien. Tiene un asunto que quiere hablar contigo. Todavía no puedo, ¿eh? Ojo. Todavía no puedo. What? ¿Y dónde está la señorita Pink? Ve allí para ¿Cómo? A ver. ¿Cómo? Ah, vale. Que tengo que ir aquí. Tengo que ir para acá. Aquí. Colocar. Entrar. ¿Quieres desbloquear el diseño del mundo interior morada flotante? Prefiero esta más bien, la verdad. Hostia, me ha absorbido, pero bueno. ¿Qué magia es esta?
This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame Huh. But there's just a whole load of nothing around it.
Paimon ve a picar unas piedras para construir otra casa. Paimon cava un hoyo para vivir en él. Hijo de la gran puta, tío.
Oh, you're the still. Why is it so empty here apart from that? Oh, wait a second.
¿Qué es esto?
Well, it seems that we have a
It's a huge finch.
¿Qué pinzón tan grande?
Excuse me, I am not a finch. Hang on a moment.
Hostia, no me jodas que le tengo que poner un nombre.
Call
Ah,
me.
Gordy.
I suppose you may call me.
Gordy. Me encanta el nombre. Le pega, le pega un montón.
So you're the little helper Madame Ping mentioned?
Buena, Adrián. ¿Qué pasa?
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean Ping. Yeah, you may leave all matters regarding the up. Your journey may be far from over. But at least this, though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, they generally, thus, we teapot spirits were created to help guard their realms and
Morada
manage
sin
their
cargar un
affairs. You may
asunto.
consider me a butler, if you will.
No, es que he quitado la cam por ahora, ¿vale? Mientras que pillo una plantilla para hacer directo con el Genshin Impact. Ya ahí pondremos la cámara, pondremos el juego, pondremos los comentarios, pondremos las alertas y demás. Ahora mismo lo tengo así para que podáis ver un poco la historia.
Now, allow me to explain this. Have you any blueprints on you? Specifically, blueprints with beautiful rooms. As long as you have a blueprint, you can refashion.
Blueprints? Oh, that's right. Granny handed us some when she...
O sea, esto ahora es un tutorial, ¿no? O algo.
Yes, these are the blueprints I'm talking. Just commit the image of the objects to
Plano de
memory and
materiales
prepare, then
pertinentes.
simply release the
Ta, ta, ta,
thought
ta,
from your
vale.
mind.
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't we?
Hombre, esto es la idea, ¿no? Vamos a hacer una ciudad aquí dentro de la tetera.
I doubt it. A golden-eyed adeptus explained this to me. He said that even though subspace creation is a product of adept, this world is not a true one after all.
A golden-eyed adeptus?
I hardly remember myself. What's more, well, let's not dwell on that. Have a look around if there's anything you would like.
Vale, busca a Gordy en la relaja... A ver... Vale. Puedes crear todo tipo de objetos en la interfaz de fabricación. Los materiales, puedes obtener un objeto mobiliario, puedes usar la función de colocar, ponerle la posición que desees. Coloca decoraciones para aumentar el nivel de energía adéptica de tu relajatetera. A medida que aumente el nivel de energía, una intramora más deprisa. Ojo, esto interesa. Puedes usar intramoras en la tetetienda. Joder, tío. Anda que los nombrecitos que le tienen puesto es flipante. En la tetetienda. Para comprar todo tipo de artículos. Vale. De vez en cuando un espíritu ambulante de la tetera vendrá a visitar tu mundo interior. Y hay una probabilidad de que traiga consigo tesoros extraños. Vale. Si tiene el plano. Bla, bla, bla. Ok. Vale. ¿Y cómo? ¿Y ahora qué? Ah, vale. ¡Ojo! Vale, este por aquí y ahora. ¿Qué pasa con esto? Ah, vale, estos son los objetos nuevos, ¿no? Entiendo. ¿Qué es esto? Los chismes de la tetera. Los chismes de la tetera. Ah, vale, el chisme estamos hablando de... Para poder colocar... Entrar en la finca. Hostia, ¿puedo entrar en la casa y todo? ¿Puedo fucking entrar en la casa? Sí, señor. Sí, señor. Hombre, está un poco... ¿Cómo decirlo? Vacía. Muy vacía. Hostia, esto me recuerda a la biblioteca de Mostad. Vale, ¿y cómo coloco yo cosas aquí? Vale, vale, vale. A ver, comprueba el menú de colocación y guarda tu decoración. Fabrica un tinte. Fabrica tela. Vale, detalle de la recompensa. ¡Ay, un gatete! No me jodas que voy a tener un gatete. Vale, ¿y cómo coloco las cosas? Vale, a ver, vamos a ir a por las ayudas. Ayudas, esto era... A ver, logros. El mundo, recogemos esto. ¿Cómo es? La ayuda eran...
I'm hungry. Let's hunt.
Ajuste no era. ¿Dónde era, por Dios? Nunca me acuerdo de esto, ¿eh? Inventario, archivo. Me voy para acá. Ah, vale, esto es lo mismo de antes, ¿verdad? Vale, pues voy a buscar nota. Voy a buscar nota a ver qué me dice, porque ahora mismo ando un poco perdido. Ando perdido aquí en la relajatetera. A ver, quiero ver las misiones, a ver qué pasa. Venga. Los chismes de la tetera. Parece que Gordy, el espíritu de la tetera, tiene algo que decirte. Vale, ¿dónde estás, Gordy? Ven para acá, amigo mío. No me visto nada mal. ¿Sucedió algo? ¿Necesitas ayuda, cierto? Esta vez te buscaba para darte un obsequio. No sé si lo mencioné antes, pero el mundo interior es la morada privada de los adeptos. Vale. Para garantizar la tranquilidad de su morada, la mayoría de los adeptos utiliza ciertos medios para cerrar sus puertas y visitantes indeseados. Así que para invitar a cierta persona a su morada, los adeptos crean un salvoconducto del mundo interior. Este salvoconducto contiene energía adéptica y la propia esencia de adeptus, así que su portador puede entrar y salir del mundo interior sin problemas. En sus inicios, este mundo interior estaba lejos de ser perfecto. Incluso aunque tuviera visitas, estas solo podían entrar y salir junto a ti. No podían quedarse aquí durante mucho tiempo. Así que tomas este salvoconducto del mundo interior que creé para ti. Cuidado que no se te caiga. ¿Qué tengo que hacer ahora? Pensé que necesitabas algo de mí. Vale. No te preocupes, basta con que sujetes este permiso para que absorba tu energía por sí solo. Por cierto, escuché que la abuela Pin decir que tienes muchos amigos, pero me temo que no puedo hacer suficientes permisos para cada uno. Bueno. Así que mejoré este permiso, solo tienes que chocar las palmas con la persona. Vale. Sí, algo así. ¿Por qué tuviste que describirlo de esa forma? En fin, toma este salvoconducto e intenta invitar a algún amigo. Al fin, este lugar se pondrá más animado. Bueno, yo ahora mismo no voy a invitar a nadie porque no. Vale. Ya tenemos terminada ya la misión, por favor, de la tetera. Sí. Tenemos terminada por fin la de tetera. ¿Por qué dice esto que no estaríamos... Ah, vale, modo multijugador. Joder, qué susto, de verdad, ¿eh? Vale, en teoría... ¿Cómo yo coloco las cosas aquí? Porque claro, a mí me dice esto, pero... Para mí esto y nada es lo mismo. A ver. ¿Cómo hago esto? Ah, vale. Sala de hornos abierta. Vale, pero... Sigo sin entender exactamente cómo coloco las cosas. O sea, cómo ¿será por aquí donde tengo que colocarlas? Vale. Pero sigo sin saber, ¿eh? Me abren puertas, pero... Pues... no tengo ni fucking idea de cómo hacer esto, ¿eh? Correo, ajustes... multijugador, encuesta... cachapón... Aquí no dice nada de cómo... No. Por mucho que yo empiece a buscar y demás. No sé. Aprende plano de decoración. Consigue 100 intramoras. A ver, voy a hablar otra vez con el personaje este. ¿Cómo? Ay, por favor. Acabo de leerlo. Me he quedado un poco pillado. Estaba diciendo, ¿qué cojones me están diciendo? No me entero.
Maybe you're not used to the place at the moment.
Tienes una parte de
But
una
once
casa y
you've
suficientes muebles se sentirá como en
materialized
casa. Ah, vale. Ahora esto. Rango de confianza. ¿Qué es esto? Recompensa de rango. ¿Recoger recompensa? Vale. Ah, vale. Vale. Y la frescor, Vale, acompañando. Vale. Vale. Crear decoración. Ahora entiendo. Ahora entiendo cómo va la historia. Vale, si quiero crear... Vale, si yo quiero crear una tela... Joder, que si tengo tela. Tengo para hacer lo que me salga a mí del nardo. No puedo añadir más. ¿Cómo puedo añadir más? Ya, te he leído, me ha hecho gracia. La verdad que me ha hecho bastante gracia. Vale, hacemos esto. No sé, voy a crear una, 2. 2 también aquí. Tinta azul tengo para aburrir, ¿eh? O sea, puedo hacerme 1500... ¡Ah! ¿Seré subnormal? Sois un normal. O sea, sois un normal. Sois un normal profundo. No me he dado cuenta de que había aquí un de esto, tío. Ay, lemao. Pues yo qué sé, voy a hacer 98. Ay. Soy imbécil, colega. Voy a hacerme 84 como estos. Y este voy a hacer 133. Ahí. Vale, en teoría hemos hecho esto. Y ahora. Hostia. Vale, podemos hacer un puesto. Vale, no hay mejoría para nadie. Ningún personaje tiene mejoría de nada, ¿verdad? Ok. Ah, vale, que necesito rango 2. Y esto... ¡Ostras! 13 horas. Venga, peínate. Peínate. Tete tienda. Vamos a ver qué tienes aquí en Tete tienda. Bueno. Esto no lo sabía yo. Ay, Dios mío, lo que yo he perdido con esto. Vale, entiendo que si compro cositas de aquí, ¿no? Ojo, semilla de flor. Si la plantas en los campos del mundo interior de tu tras cierto tiempo brotará. ¡Ojo! ¡Ojo, ojo, 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 ojo! Me llevo 3. 3. ¡Ojo! Vale. ¿Puedo plantar algo más? Vale. Riquezas del mundo. Raíz esencial. En un campo de cultivo formado gracias a la creación. Vale, me hace falta cosas. Vale, ya no tengo dinero, ¿verdad? Vale, pues crear decoración, la tenemos. Cambiar diseño, háblame de ti. A ver. Vale, esto es, aumenta tu rango de confianza primero. Vale. Bueno, pues esto lo iremos. Yo creo que lo iremos viendo conforme vayamos necesitando. Vale, esto fuera. Una tela fuera. Esto fuera. Comprueba el menú de colocación y guarda tu decoración. Aprende 3 planos de decoración. Vale. Fabrica. Vale. Ok. Vale, esto por aquí. Venga, vamos a ir completando cositas, ¿eh? Perfecto. Y esto... Vale. No.
I keep watch. You leave, you call me.
Vale. Muy bien. Vale, pues como esto hay que esperar no sé cuántas horas, ¿cómo salgo de aquí? Ah, volver... Vale. No es posible regresar al mundo interior. ¿Y cómo salgo de aquí? ¿Cómo? A ver. ¿Cómo carajos salgo de aquí? Por favor, quiero salir. Uy.
Maybe you're not. When breaking new ground,
No sé qué
Maeve,
acá,
I'll teach you
sí,
more
¿verdad?
about this.
Vale, pero quiero salir de aquí, tío. ¿Cómo salgo? A lo mejor aquí la tetera. No. Detalle de recompensa. Vale, quiero fucking salir. No es posible regresar al mundo de un jugador estando dentro de la relajatera. Vale, ¿y cómo salgo de aquí?
I smell rabbit.
Multijugador. A ver. Por favor, socorro. ¿Cómo salgo de aquí? ¿Cómo salgo de aquí? Supuestamente este es el espíritu que me tiene que decir cómo salir, ¿no?
Maybe you're.
Habla de ti. Adiós. Tetera. Creación. Rango de confianza. Vale, pero quiero... A ver. A ver. Espíritu de Tetera. Rango de confianza. Rango de energía. Fabricación. Tal... Fin de semana, ambulante visitar, vale, acompañantes. Vale, quiero, vamos a ver. Quiero puto salir. Cambiar diseño. No puedo. Vale, quiero salir. ¿Qué no entendemos, tío? Ah, vale. Isla. A ver. Sin visitante. Isla Frescor.
I keep watch.
Ah, vale. Así es como uno sale. Ahora entiendo. Ya sé cómo se sale. Joder. Ha costado, ¿eh? Ha costado lo suyo. Vale.